सर गुड मॉर्निंग। सर आई एम नॉट ऑडिएबल। हेलो। जय श्री कृष्ण। हाँ सर। हाँ 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 हाँ। उसको बताएंगे भाई। हाँ ठीक है। मैं हाँ 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 हाँ। नहीं करेंगे। मैं ना अभी क्लास लेता हूँ, क्लास लेके फिर और बात करता हूँ आपसे। हाँ? हेलो। हेलो आई एम ऑडिएबल। सर खांडवे सर, आई कांट लिसन यू। सर आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही मुझे। Sir, I am audible? नहीं, उसका आवाज ही नहीं आ रहा मुझे.
ये बताओ आपका स्पीकर.
नहीं आ रही आवाज.
बोल ही रहे ना, नेट ये वाला लगवाना.
उससे कुछ नहीं होने वाला.
पड़ता है, आपको नहीं पता.
फोन करता हूँ उसको.
कहाँ स्पीकर ऑन करने का? आपका लॉगिन किया है ना? लॉन्च मीटिंग का.
You are audible to us. अच्छा. Okay, okay. Then ठीक है. ज्वाइन क्यों नहीं हो रहा मैं?
ज्वाइन तो आप उसमें. एक ही तो चल रहा है आपको, दो क्यों खोला है आपने?
हाँ खोला था.
देखा है.
मेरा स्क्रीन कहाँ चला गया?
ये बंद करो.
Sir, I am audible or not? Can show the finger, show the by hand whether I am audible or not. Because I've,
क्या हो रहा है? क्या हो रहा है? क्यों?
क्या बोल? इसमें देखो तो क्या बोलता है? Select.
अभी लगा स्पीकर आपका.
हेलो हेलो.
उनकी आवाज क्यों नहीं आ रही?
You are audible now.
Ah, yes. Now it is okay. Now it is okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay, so should we start?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. These are all some technical issues. Huh?
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
So, friends, how many people have joined? Around 80. Right, good. So we'll continue the discussions which we took last time, and now the same part two, which we are talking about the ERD of steel, is the basic fundamental requirement as per the 1893. Then some performance level. Then some discussion on the clause of IS 800 on the steel frames, and so on. And then some different types of frames and all these things with a studio time, with our studio time. And I apologize to the our organizer that I'll close around 10:35 because I have another meeting at 11. So I need some 20 minutes to reach the campus. So I'll close around 1035 to 1040, probably. Okay, sir. Right. So the first thing is that the calculation of the lateral force, and this calculation of lateral force has been discussed at a number of platform, and everybody knows about to calculate the this method of calculating the base shear and then multiplying with the seismic weight. Then you get the horizontal force on the different part of the structures. So there are various methods: response reduction method, time stream analysis. So many methods are there, but the basic fundamental, more conservative is the seismic coefficient method, and we go by this only. Very complex structures to be solved with the dynamic method, that is a response reduction method and other methods. Okay. Then the question of R. R is to that table number 23 of 800 and IS 1893. There are some small mismatch, but the R defined by 800 has to be taken for the all steel building as per the something wrong. Okay, so this response reduction factor to be taken as per this particular case, and the code also specified how to classify the building according to the zones. Then the combinations, that is the 100% on one direction, 30% on other two directions, and then this combination as per the our process mentioned in our 1893. So here, one important point I will tell you, that for analysis purpose, 1893 to be utilized, whether it may be a steel building, it may be a RCC building, it may be a composite building, because the fundamental forces to be calculated based on the basic principles of the earthquake engineering, and that principles are remain to be common for all type of structures, which what may be the material property, what may be the shape. So that is to be always considered. And the code also 800 has given some combinations over and above the combination mentioned in 1893. So we have to use and we have to justify whether these combinations are workable or not. Now here, I wrote on the top this A and B combination as 1.2 dead load plus 0.5 live load and 2.5 earthquake forces. These are two A and B combinations are only for the some special connections and special joints and special members, which is has been given in our section 12 of 800. Now here, if you see this particular table, there for the live load, now that correct by errata, it is imposed load. So imposed load will be the nothing but be the, there are two things mentioned. One is the leading, another accompanying. Now how you will decide leading and accompanying? Leading imposed load and accompanying imposed load. If we talk only what is a normal thinking in our mind, that we always think over about the only a residential building. We never give a thought to the industrial building. And our steel structures are utilization basis. If you see the percentage, that is more in industry rather than in our buildings. Now, slowly the progress is taking place in buildings also, but the major contribution to us goes to the only the industrial building. So there are number of imposed loads are acting on the floor. So we have to decide which is leading, which is accompanying, because leading and accompanying, the factors are different. 1.5, 1.05. There is a difference of 0.45, the value for the load factor or partial safety factor. So the load, which is there are, let us say there are imposed load 1, imposed load 2. Out of these 2, for that particular member, for with the value of 1 as partial safety factor, whichever is creating the highest bending moment will be the leading load, and the other will be accompanying. So leader means who's create the highest bending moment. Okay, so leading load and accompanying load. That is to be seen. Okay. Then there are some special requirement about the compressive forces in the member. Yesterday, I relating this particular point of 800 with the basic theory of plastic theory. I told that there is an effect of axial force on plastic moment. So that is Mn upon Mp is equal to 1 minus N upon Mp whole square. This is equation which is being drawn as per the SP6 of BIS. Wherein the Mn is the actual bending moment, Mp is the bending plastic moment. When there is no axial force acting, N is the actual axial force and Np is the plastic axial force. Plastic axial force always equal to area multiplied by Fy. Means the highest force the member can take. So here he said that one guideline I'll tell you, PR upon PD. If it's less than 0.15, there is no effective axial force. If PR upon PD is greater than 0.15, then effective axial force to be considered. So here, this particular clause has mentioned that if PR upon PD is greater than 0.4, this structure to be checked, column to be checked as per the condition mentioned here. So this is the meaning of this particular clause as per the IS 800. Now, another area what it says, the flange splashes shall be 20% more than the actual area of the flange. So here, there are some, I'm sure there are some MTech students, they are the participants. I think so. Khandwe sir, if I am not wrong, you can correct me. Okay, so now this particular line, area of flanges shall be 20% more than the actual area. So somebody what should do? Only he should work on the splices of various rolled sections as a project, wherein he should model the behavior of the splices for a particular building frame. What building frame he should design, consider, and for he should model the splices and find out the response of these splices, whether it is going as a plastic deformation or it goes in inelastic deformation. So this can be, this one line can give you one project. So you can take as a research project. So you have to take out project like this only. It is mentioned that area should 20%, but what is the effect? Whether the joint becomes rigid. So that we should not, we don't want rigidity in the member. Okay, so therefore you should challenge it whether this is correct or wrong, because it has been, line has taken from some place and it is been put in the code. So we can study and we can conclude that yes, it is correct or it needs some modification. So that contribution goes to our society. Now a story drift as per 1893. Okay, one more thing, for high-rise buildings. For high-rise building, there is one more code, 16700, wherein there are certain conditions are mentioned in high-rise building. That code doesn't speak about only material. It is a general guidelines given 1670 for taking the additional forces or additional movements in the structures or classification of the structures. So therefore, for multi-story, you should also refer 16700. Okay, so along with this, now very important thing is that we have to discuss about the ductility. I just want to take off this. Just a minute. Just a minute. Okay, now we talk about the ductility. It is a capacity to undergo high plastic deformation in some predefined location, offer its initial yield without any significant reduction in ultimate strength, or ensuring a protection against structure collapse during severe earthquake. Now, if you are sitting along with this presentation, some with your copy and the pen, you just draw M5 diagram. What is M5? I'm using the word M5 diagram. I mean, if I say graph versus movement versus radius of curvature, that is M versus 1 by R. If you draw a graph versus M versus 1 by R, it starts from origin. It remains straight line, that is M is proportional to 1 by R. And then suddenly it changes the behavior. The straight line behavior changes. That means there is a elastic property is being lost and the structure enter into a plastic zone. And the movement then remains constant. That movement is nothing but called as plastic movement. So that is what that particular graph behavior is totally related to the ductility of the member. So what is said, without significant reduction in ultimate strength or ensuring protection against structure collapse during severe earthquake. So we want a good M5 relationship with initial yield. That means the movement becomes MP and structures go on rotating and it will collapse after a very long time. So that was the meaning of this one. Now types of ductility. There are mainly 5 types of ductility. Material ductility. Material should be ductile. Cross-section ductility means whatever cross-section we are considering, therefore cross-section ductility. Then member ductility. Member as a whole. Then structure ductility. Okay, structure as a whole. And then energy ductility. Right. Now, father, son, grandson, grandson. 1, 2, 3, 4 are related to each other. And then the 5th one is the controller. Because of that only energy creates. That's why the energy duct, because there is a lot of energy dissipation during this process. Therefore, here again I'll relate with the plastic theory because that is the backbone of this particular process. Work done by the load is equal to energy absorbed by the structure. And that energy is nothing but they are forming the hinges. Now, I very simply I told you forming the hinges. What it mean? Forming hinges means converting the structure into a stable form. Converting the indeterminate structure into determinate. Again, meaning of this, converting structure into indeterminate to determinate. What it means? It means that if what is indeterminacy? Number of unknown beyond equational number of unknown beyond what? Equilibrium. So if the number of unknowns are more than 3, then structure becomes indeterminate. So that indeterminacy has to be converted into determinate. That means what we do? We convert the structure into a determinate structure. Means finally the structure becomes simple structures, and that is what. So that is what the process of formation of hinges. And there's whatever energy which the structure absorbs, that is converted into formation of hinges. Or converting into. So when this process will take place, when 1, 2, 3 will be good. Material property, material should be ductile. So as far as the steel concerned, it's a very good ductile material. This is very good ductility. That means percentage elongation is important here as far as material ductility concerned. But we test the material property, physical property, yield stress, ultimate stress, percentage elongation. That will talk about the material ductility. Then material is being used for a cross section. So cross section ductility. Now cross section ductility means relationship between the thickness of the material versus width of the material. I am talking material wise, not talking the cross section wise. Okay, so thickness of material means I am using 10 mm thick plate. If I am using flange width of 400 millimeter, may not have my cross section will be ductile. So I should have a bare limit of using the width of the cross section. So that is called B by T ratio. That is what mentioned in our code cross classifications. So that give cross section ductility. Okay, and then the cross sections joined together becomes a member. Number of cross sections joined together becomes a member. So if the material good, cross section is good, then naturally the material ductility will be good. So what this says that deformation ductility as far as material concerned, that is percentage elongation. Curvature ductility means high rotation capacity. Member will be classified into a good number. That is one means plastic. Then it will going to rotate. That is M5 relationship. So 1, 2, 3, if okay, then the fourth automatically goes. The overall structure ductility. If overall structure ductility there, that means good energy being absorbed by the member for formation of the hinge. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they are related. Now what they say is that characterize the material plastic deformation at different loading conditions. This plastic deformation of the cross section, which I just told you, member as a whole will rotate. Then the structural ductility means there is a global ductility, displacement ductility, and kinematic ductility, and that is to be considered at the level of distributed seismic energy. Right. So this is what the classifications. Now correlationship. Cross section plus material becomes member, member plus structure becomes energy. This is the correlationship between these all five. This is presented by this particular format. This is from one book. Book reference may be somewhere here or at the end. This is the source. This book on Grineau and Mesolani. How to calculate and how it to be shown. That's why I told you fundamentally percentage elongation, rotation, member rotation, structure rotation, and energy dissipation. All five at one place. Okay, then this is what the calculation of the response reduction factor. This I can skip because this number of people are talked about the response reduction factor, and the same thing I have to repeat. So I'll concentrate more on the other parts which is not been told by the covered in the RCC portion. Okay, so response reduction factor, how to calculate that everybody knows. This is as per the spectrum. Then we consider single degree of mass system, and then we calculate the response reduction factor and the response reduction factor. Okay, now in this response reduction factor, it is nothing but a product of ductility reduction factor and overstrength factor. So for us, overstrength is very important. What is overstrength? An inherent property of well-designed detailed constructed structure. Inherent property. Now, sometimes we also work based on our overstrength. Why our working times are decided from 9:30 to 5:30? Why not whole day? Because we have the only capacity to work in between these particular hours, and people can work and remain healthy. That's why, based on the health of people, the working times of a person has been decided by the government. If you are working more than working hours, means you are extracting something strength from your body. So that strength is nothing but overstrength. Okay, so overstrength has to be calculated. So there are many factors which contribute toward the overstrength. We'll see there later on. The contribution to overstrength. Load factor for load. I told you accompanying load and leading load. So there may happen that leading and accompanying may sometime interchange. So load factor. Then material factor. Now material factor. Yield stress, ultimate stress, if is as defined as 250 and 410 can be 270, 280, 410 can be 430, 440. Okay, so that is one thing. And the third is the member sizes, that is the tolerances. Positive tolerances, negative tolerances. So member can be rolled out in tolerances. We take the specific property as per the steel table, but the sizes are more. Then sometimes we do special ductile detailing. The special ductile detailing means detailing of the confining zone or the zone where the hinges going to form. There, if you do special ductile detailing, it will contribute more strength. Then redundancy. Redundancy, what it helps? It helps for absorbing the energy. If there are more hinges are formed, more energy will be absorbed, structure will remain safe. Then strain hardening. Yesterday when graph, if you see one thing, everything is related to what I told on Wednesday. If I delay the strain hardening zone, definitely my contribution will be more. Then these structures, when it shakes, it goes in do loop. It go on doing and doing. So under cycling loading, a higher material strength can be obtained. Then the strain contribution of non-structural elements. The non-structural element, window pan, window sheet, partitions, temporary structures inside these buildings. So they also contribute. They also take some load. So these are all contribution to overall strength. Then there are performance-based design. Structure should perform. Now you will see a time will come. I have seen two era. You may see one more era. That by the time whether it will be implemented or not, I don't know. Whether it will be implemented in front of us, we don't know. One era we have seen always. Those are right now teachers. They have seen only one era, that is the working era. We work on working. The second era which we are now doing, capacity. Our 800 we calculate capacity. In working era we only talk about the stress level. That is permissible stress, actual stress. In now capacity era, we talk about the capacity. We calculate the action, that is bending moment, and we calculate the moment of resistance, that is the capacity. So we talk about the capacity level. Now, third era will going to come is based on performance. Grade card. What is grade card? What is CGPA? What is SGPA? It is grade card. It is performance. Your performance in the examination. Earlier you are rated by the marks. Now you are rated by the performance. So therefore, the performance level. Now performance level will be your total behavior, total knowledge, everything. That is what performance. So here also the structure will go on the performance. What is performance? Just see here. I'll read only some few words here. At specific ground motion with defined levels of reliability. Means I have to reliable. My structure has to give the reliable, to supply reliability level and will not damage beyond certain limit. So that means means we have to check the reliability. Now reliability is one of the subject in our PG level. Nowadays somewhere it taught, but earlier we used to taught in our institute, but now number of subjects increased, so we dropped the reliability. Reliability is based on again on plastic analysis. Why I am more emphasizing on plastic analysis? Because that is the ultimate, and that shows our last stage. And if you know our last stage, then the stage prior to that will be very easy. Means I know what is my collapse load and what is my collapse behavior. Then I can increase my reliability of structures for any type of forces or loads going to come in these structures. Okay. So the performance levels are defined with minor earthquake without significant damage, moderate earthquake without repair damage, major earthquake without collapse. So this is what the performance level graph versus top displacement versus lateral forces. Okay. And it involves following process: selection of performance objective, design criteria, ground motion, conceptual overall seismic design, suitable structure structural analysis method. This fourth one is very important, which proper method you are selecting. Then these performance levels are based on this criteria. Our non-seismic, we perform only strength and rigidity, and seismic building we perform with strength, rigidity, and ductility. So I'll take one by one. Now, strength means capacity, rigidity means serviceability, ductility means mobility. How structure can be movable? Okay. Overall this, there is one more hidden criteria, is the stability, which is applicable to both. It has to be applied to the both. Now, based on that, there are three demands: serviceability demand, damageability demand, and survivability demand. So, rigidity means deflection, story drift. Damageability means strength, cross-section capacity. And serviceability means ductility, that is kinetic method of analysis or rotation capacity. Okay. These are the three criteria for this capacity design, rigidity design, and strength design, and ductility design. So what it says that available ductility should be greater than the required rigidity. Structure should maintain their architectural integrity. It should not be damaged. Avoid the damage of the non-structural element. Increase the instability phenomena. And finally, there should be avoid human discomfort. People should feel comfortable using the structure. That is what the rigidity criteria. Okay. Then what the strength says? That building that accepts structural damage, like to explain this elastic excursion, the building should maintain the structure in elastic range. That is, available strength should be greater than the required strength. How it is obtained? Because of based on the earthquake, what spectrum we are using, that is the requirement, and what are the available, that the change of yield level, that is the upper end point, lower end point, increase in dimension. That means here the contribution of over strength also. Moment redistribution also. What is moment redistribution? The joint which you are converting from hinge fixed to hinge, how much change of moment occurs. That's why you will find that the elastic neutral axis is never equal to plastic neutral axis. Only in case of symmetrical section, that plastic neutral axis is equal to elastic neutral. But in other sections, you will not be there. If it is an unsymmetrical section or monosymmetric or bisymmetric, then the elastic neutral axis to be plastic neutral to be obtained by equating the area, total area on tension side equal to total area on compression side. Then the ductility demand, that available ductility should be greater than the required ductility. And again, the required ductility depends upon the possible earthquake, foundation, structure type, mechanism, and available should be depends upon material, cross section, member, joint, and connection. Okay. Then global ductility defined at the level of whole structures, and local ductility defined at the level of structural member. So these two to be checked. This is ductility characteristic. Then that depends upon the ground motion, structure response, and the ability depends upon again on the same thing what we are talking about: material, cross section, member, joint, and connections. And then the plastic rotation demand. The plastic rotation demand is approximately 0.02 radian, which has been used in our 800, and it is always equal to estimated as elastic interstory drift divided by story height. Then coming to the behavior of the frames. Coming to the behavior of the frames, the design and basic behavior of the moment resting frame, beam to column connections, panel zone behavior. The beam and column with moment resting connection resist lateral force by flexure and shear in beam and column. So everybody knows behavior of the moment resting frame. So develop ductility by flexure yielding of beam, shear yielding of column panel zone, and flexure yielding of column. Advantages: architectural versatility, high ductility and safety. Disadvantage: low elastic stiffness. You can see this is a moment resting frame. So behavior. What it says that choose frame element that will yield in earthquake, and that is choose plastic hinge location. Detailed plastic hinge reason to sustain that large elastic depression prior to the onset of fracture or instability. Design all other frame element to be stronger than plastic hinge. Okay, so that hinge will act as a fuse, which will control the total elastic behavior. You can see this one. This is the joint of the beam column. Column zone. Joint rotation. So yesterday I told about the beam mechanism, column sway mechanism, combined mechanism. There is one more mechanism that is called joint mechanism. So this is what the joint deformation due to panel zone is shear yielding. That is called joint. Joint rotates. Sometimes you find that in some building joint rotates. Now what the our code says. Withstand inelastic deformation corresponding to joint rotation of 0.02 radian without degradation of strength and stiffness. For building seismic zone 3 having importance factor greater than 1, not to be used for seismic zone 4 and 5. And condition should be rigid or semi-rigid. So when this condition you follow, you can use ordinary moment resting frame. Corresponding R to be taken for this. Okay. Then this is what the special moment resting frame. In special moment resting frame, the detailing of joint to be done by providing the continuity plate. So this is what you can see, the continuity plate. And this axial forces in member, they behave, and continuity plate helps. This is without continuity plate, you can see this. There is a bending of the flange of the column, and with continuity plate, the column sustained properly the force. Okay, this is what the requirement of continuity plate. Continuity plate should be greater than 1.5 of top thickness of flange. If it is there, greater than these two. This is what formula is given here. This is what the continuity plate. So this part which I am showing right now, they are the ductile detailing part. Means you should not forget of providing the stiffness, bracing, and the plates. All these things, they help in the structure's behavior. Okay. Then provisions, what it says, that moment provision says that the plastic moment of column upon plastic moment of beam should be greater than 1.2. Strong column, weak beam theory. The requirement, what it says that metal should be E250B, withstand elastic deformation corresponding joint rotation of 0.04. Now ordinary 0.02, now it is 0.04. Allowed to use any zone, any building. And one more thing, this section should be plastic or compact. Means semi-compact is not allowed, and ratio should be 1.2. Now coming to the concentric brace frame. that beam, column and braces are arranged to form a vertical truss, resist lateral force by truss action. And there are braces which yield either in tension, either in compression. Advantage, it gives high elastic stiffness. You can see this is what the single, double. Behavior, how it behaves. Just see this diagram. Now this is diagram. One in tension, another in compression. Column beams remain essentially elastic. Only all energy absorbed by these braces. You can see this is what has happened after earthquake. After earthquake, this has happened. You can see here the paint is spill out. If anywhere paint is spill out, it means that high stress concentration took place. And that's why member buckle there only. That shows the sign of formation of plastic hinge. Now what code says about this? Ordinary concentric brace frame not to be used for seismic zone 4 and 5 and for building important factor rather than 1 in seismic zone 3. And it allows only the joint rotation of 0.02 radial. And K bracing is not to be used. And the KL by ratio of the bracing member should not be greater than 120. One line question somewhere you may ask, bracing member having three answers. One is 120, 145 and 180. So 120 for the OCBF, 145 for the bracing in as a lacing in the column member, and 180 for the general purpose. Three values. Always people are confused here only. And the compressive capacity should not be greater than 0.8 times its main capacity. And tensile force should resist 30 to 70% of total lateral force, or it should be designed on gross yielding. This is what we mentioned in our IS 800. Okay. Then special concentric brace frame, elastic deformation 0.04 to be used in any zone, and applicable to diagonal and X bracing only. Material property E250, KL by ratio should not be 120. Compressive stress should be greater than PD. Okay, so the advantage on over this ordinary is that your capacity in column is increased and all zones are allowed. This is what the eccentrically based is. Now eccentrically based. So in eccentrically brace, this eccentricity that acts as a link and that acts as a fuse. You can see this here link. This is what you can see here. This is what the energy distribution, how energy is distributed in this. Moment resting frame, concentric brace frame, and eccentric brace frame. A good comparison can be studied in this. Now, BRB, buckling restrained braced frame. A very good concept people are using now. I'll show you. This bracing is having a casting iron core. That configuration, everything remains same, but bracing having the casting iron core and buckling. Okay, and like this. And steel core resists entire axial force, and casing is debonded from steel core to, and casing does not resist axial force, but it resists flexure stiffness of restrain the buckling of core. Okay, so core is for safety, safeguarding the casing is for safeguarding the steel core. Okay, you can see this behavior. This is what the methods they are. It is not allowed in express. Not, it can't be made. It cannot be made because the joint is not possible. It has to be only with the joint with the main members. You can see this is what. And you can see here this joint is pin joint. Totally pin joint. You can see the pin joint structures. This is a structure where under construction. This is what they used. Then special plate shear wall. Like on RCC shear wall, you can use the plate shear wall with this is what the plate shear wall. Plates with stiffeners and the end frames. You can see this end frame. This is shear wall. Okay, so this is the references. Everybody should note it, these references. Right, and I have shown you today the roadmap for system design of the steel members. And this roadmap, you should use it, extract something from here and do some good work in this area. These are the books now easily available. Easily available books are there. These books you refer. There are total 5 books on this area. You can use it. There are a lot of literature available also on the net, and people now you can work. The time a time was there when the resources was not there. People are ready to work, but now here resource is lot of available, so competition increases. Right. So with this, thank you very much for all for patience hearing. I have not made a full justice for presentation. Reason being, I just want to show in 1 hour so many things. If I need to explain everything, so I need as a half an a day, more than half an a day for complete from first PPT, first PPT to last PPT to teach in detail all about the ERD of steel. But I just shown you the outlines of the glimpses of this ERD of steel in part 2. Otherwise, we can interlink now with this e-facility. Wednesday, some graphs here we can again interpolate here, and we can show relationship between these two and this one. That can also be done in future courses. We can also think about this. We keep having the more time for this. Right? Okay, sir. Khandwe sir, any questions from the audience? Any questions from audience? Any questions from audience? Sir. Khandwe sir, I'm audible or not? सर हाँ
आवाज आ रही है आपके पास?
आ रही
Okay, so there are no any questions from the participants. If participants wants to ask that question, you can type in the chat box, or then we will stop here for the day. Actually, very interesting topic was there, and now in the coming era, So we have to go with this steel frame structures also for the large industrial building, and in many places this knowledge is required. So one question is there in the chat box, sir.
Yeah, 1 minute. And just see. Where is chat box? How to increase strain under cyclic loading? Yeah. We have to perform the some experiment of modeling the structures with various ductility, with various possible types of ductility. Then we can increase the strength under cyclic loading. Okay.
Another question is there. As you said, there are non-seismic and seismic structure.
Yes.
But we calculate all the structures for earthquake resistant. So why not all the structures are considered as seismic structure?
That is what, if you see the zone wise and the building importance and their height wise, if I design G+2 structures, the seismic forces are very small. So, and that requirement also not there. So that depends upon the requirement, whether it is required or not. How to increase the performance of structures under seismic or wind? Performance only by doing the ductile analysis. That is what performance level can be increased.
Yes, sir.
Sir, this is what the total subject we have. One subject
Yes,
we have,
sir. Yes, sir.
ERD of steel. And probably you can also think of adding as an elective in your institute, as a elective. So students can learn in detail the more things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely, I will take this initiative.
As a elective, you can add. I don't think that everybody should maybe interested.
Yes. But few of them can go ahead.
Can go ahead.
Yes.
So
how to increase the performance of the structure under seismic and wind?
I told that detailing. I told just now.
So thank you, participants also, and thanks to Gupta sir. So today this was again new insight for earthquake resistant design for steel structure. So thank you, Gupta sir. Again, in forthcoming days, we will again contact you if any help is needed from your side.
Yes. I'm available. I'm 100% available now. 100% is 200% available, because now I decided to share only the things to people.
Yes, sir. That's good thing. Okay, so thank you, participants. See you in the next session at 11 a.m. again. So after a few minutes, I will stop this meeting session here, and in another session, we will begin at 11 a.m. With Dr. Putul Haldar from IIT Ropar. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So for attendance purpose, any participant who has not yet dropped their mobile number in the chat box, they can drop, and otherwise then I will close this session here. So again, the forthcoming 2 sessions are very interesting, and they are only all practical oriented topics are there. So see you soon again. Till then, goodbye here. We will meet again at exact 11 a.m. 10 minutes before, at 10:15, I will start the session, and then at 11 we will start our presentation.